I refuse to live with a service dog, so I own this 5-bedroom house that I got when my uncle died 2 years ago. Way more space than I need, but whatever. I rent out 2 rooms to help with the mortgage. One guy keeps to himself, barely see him. The other roommate is Jake, my friend from college. Jake's diabetic and has one of those continuous glucose monitor things. Never really asked about it because it's not my business. He manages it fine, and we've been good roommates for like 18 months now. Last Tuesday, he comes to me and says he's getting a service dog next week. Some kind of diabetes alert dog that can smell when his blood sugar drops or something. He was all excited about it, talking about how it would help him sleep better at night, knowing the dog would wake him up if something went wrong. I immediately said no. I hate dogs. Always have. They're loud, they smell, they shed everywhere, and I just don't want one in my house. Period. Jake looked at me like I'd slapped him. He started explaining how it's a medical necessity and how well-trained service dogs are. I cut him off and told him he could break his lease early without penalty, but the dog wasn't happening. That's when things got ugly. He started yelling about how I was discriminating against his disability, said I was being an asshole for basically kicking him out over something he needs for his health. I reminded him that I never agreed to pets when he moved in, and this wasn't different just because it's called a service dog. The next few days were tense as hell. Jake would slam doors, give me dirty looks, the whole passive-aggressive thing. He called his sister, and I could hear him on the phone calling me every name in the book. Thursday night, he comes to me with printouts from some legal website saying landlords have to allow service dogs under the Americans with Disabilities Act. I told him I'm not his landlord, I'm his roommate, and this is my house that I live in too. He threatened to call some disability rights organization. I said go ahead. My house, my rules. I offered him 2 months to find a new place instead of the usual 30 days notice. Thought I was being pretty generous. Jake's been texting our mutual friends trying to get them on his side. Half of them think I'm being heartless. The other half get that it's my house and I shouldn't have to live with an animal I don't want. His parents even called me yesterday trying to guilt trip me. His mom went on about how the dog could save his life and how could I be so cruel. I hung up on her. Jake's supposed to pick up the dog this Saturday. He found an apartment but can't move in until next month. He asked if he could just keep the dog here for 3 weeks until he moves. I said absolutely not. Now he's staying at his sister's place and calling me every few hours asking me to reconsider. Says he'll pay extra rent, keep the dog in his room only, whatever I want. But I don't want the dog here at all. Yesterday he showed up with the dog anyway. Just walked in like nothing happened. The thing was huge. Some kind of German Shepherd mix. I told him to get it out immediately or I'd call animal control. We got into a screaming match in my driveway. The neighbors were watching and everything. Jake was crying, saying I was ruining his life over nothing. I reminded him that he knew how I felt about dogs and chose to get one anyway. He finally left with the dog, but not before telling me our friendship was over and that I was a selfish piece of shit. Haven't heard from him since, but mutual friends keep texting me saying I went too far.